Hi, Sarah.
Me,
How are you feeling after your party last night?
less hungover than I deserve, but I'm still like floating on that like pinch me high. It never gets old. It never gets like less cool. Like I never get used to them. So, but yeah, no, I'm my energy is waning. I feel like I just exerted so much energy into the party. We partied, we had fun. I went home not remembering any of the episode and had to rewatch it again this morning, but it was totally worth it. It
Yeah,
was great. Lots. I think this was our first traders party, so I didn't know what to expect turnout
it
wise.
was. I didn't realize that. That is your first traders
And
party.
I knew the Big Brother, like we have packed that place out for Big Brother, but I was like, are people going to show up for the traders? I didn't know. And ticket sales are really slow at first. Typically with Big Brother, they just kind of like fly. And traders, it was like staggering. And then boom, the night of, the whole place is packed end to end. And yeah, we had a really great time. It was a lot of fun.
Awesome.
And what a great episode.
And it was your birthday.
It was
Happy birthday to you. I saw your little birthday TikToky. It was cute. I love
it was a lot of fun. And then I got Creepy Cabin for this party up. I have a really good track record with these watch. Like we end up getting like surprise double evictions, and we plan the date for the parties far in advance, so I never know what the episode's going to be. But we've ended up with doubles. We ended up with like Rubina's epic win at the AI Arena. Like we have a good track record. And so the fact that we ended up getting Creepy Cabin at this party, which is my favorite Traders Challenge, I couldn't have asked for more.
So, the episode starts off with us not knowing whether there was a murder that took place
Mhm.
or not. And to me, it seemed like if there was going to be a murder, it was going to be Colton. Um, what did you predict going into the episode? Did you think there would be a murder, and who would it be?
I think my prediction was that if it was going to be a murder, that they had decided on Colton. However, um, if anyone, the way the episode was set up, if anyone was going to take a shield, it was going to be Colton, but he was in Candace's group, and she knew he didn't take
Yes.
one. So I don't think there was anybody else like out there that was going to take one. Um, he
My
was.
prediction was that Nat, because they showed some of Natalie and Johnny both telling because it was Natalie, Johnny, Michael Rappaport, and one other person. I don't remember who the other person was. Oh, Dorinda. And
Mhm.
Dorinda in a group. And they showed a little clip of them being like, no, Natalie was like, no, we need to talk about this. Because Dorinda was like, no, put that back, put that back. And I think Johnny immediately like grabbed the shield right
Yeah.
away. And there was this like exchange. And Michael Rappaport, they showed nothing of him saying anything. And I thought that was strange. So I thought my prediction was that if anybody took one, it was that entire group,
Mm.
which would have been fine with me because they would have murdered Colton and he would have went out. What shocked me was that we found out that Alan told them that there wasn't going to be a murder. So I was actually shocked that they did it this way. I thought that Alan would have allowed them to attempt a murder and then because typically that's what we see, but he
Mm.
came in and was like, yeah, you don't get to murder tonight, and then there was no alternative. I didn't like
Yeah.
that very much.
I didn't like it either. However, because I'm in a space where I'm rooting for the traders, I then liked it too because the last thing I need is Colton to be given more ammunition and more reasons to speak.
Hmm.
So I know that if
Yeah.
he had gotten this attempted murder letter or something along those lines, then
Oh, he would have sang like a
it
canary.
would have been insufferable. Insufferable. So
It already is, but I've
oh
like,
yes,
yeah,
absolutely. But I'm just saying like
it would have been
it
way
would have been
worse. Yeah.
bad. Yeah.
So, we see a little like clips back and forth of like them in the turret, and then they like are showing us breakfast. And what I loved about the immediate clips at breakfast that we were getting was that we saw Johnny gaming right away. And when I saw, them showing us his thoughts, I thought, okay, so he is going to become a little bit more of a player than we've seen. And he probably has been playing this game. There was a few other players, we'll get into them, but like Mark Ballas specifically, there were a lot of people that we finally, and I'm like, why did it take this long? Oh yeah, because Michael Rappaport took a lot of time. But why did it have to take so long for us to see the actual strategy? Because we see these people like fun moments from Johnny
Mhm.
falling and having his baptized moment in the look. I loved it. It was funny when he gets oh, oh, like I love the way he like. But those moments are fine. But I'm glad because I was thinking that him and Tara were clueless, and Tara has some of the things she said in her DRs. I was like, okay, do we know what we're talking about? But finally, on this episode, see him like talking about, okay, well, how are we going to vote tonight? Like he's saying things at breakfast, and I like that. Did you
I
notice
thought
that?
it has been the whole time, but I think first of all, I love Gay Loki, and I been watching him, and then his interviews too. He was just on Watch What Happens Live, and he kind of gave some like,
Yeah.
behind the scenes, and you could just tell like he's clearly been gaming this whole time. I mean, as much of he as we saw doesn't like Michael, he equally doesn't like. But yeah, I really enjoyed like him setting up the coup, the
Yeah.
alliance. I love an alliance. I love an alliance. And
Yeah.
watching one form like gave me in my big brother heart, you know, extra beats. I was very excited. I was like,
Yeah. So
this is happening.
yeah, so they had Colton come in last, of course, and it was genuine shock on everyone's
Yeah.
face that Colton was there, except for obviously our traders. And then, they break from breakfast and do their little chit chatting. And again, the first thing we see is again Johnny. And like you said, he's doing his little coup thing. I loved that the first thing he did is he talked to, I wrote it down. It was Steven, Eric, Colton, Lisa, Candace,
Mhm.
Jam Jam. And I thought it was important that I wrote that down because the vote, because I like remember those names, because when we come back to the vote at the end, I want to talk about who stuck with him and who didn't, because I think that that's important. Um, who could have been swayed at that round table is important to me, because Johnny goes up to those people and he's like, "Hey, we are now down to enough numbers." Which, in my opinion, they should have always been trying to do this, but maybe he was trying and he couldn't get them to. But we're down to enough that we only need 8. We can control the whole round table. And then Rob Roush, he eventually gets involved because they pull him into it. He likes it, but then he's also like shocked that they're willing to think like this. And this was the only thing that had me slightly doubting Rob, only because I'm like, did you never think that they would do this? But I'm
Well,
not saying he's a bad trader at all. I love him, but that was the one time that I was like, you didn't think of that?
it's very interesting to me because I felt like this moment for me read as just another point on the side of Rob is very good and very good at playing this game. And he's already given us a glimpse into like how he's approaching this game by being how he would as a faithful when he's not in the turret, which is my
Mm-hmm.
approach that I would have to take too. And he said, I just pretend to be a faithful. And what he said was absolutely accurate. And if he was a faithful, that is how he would have responded because the running theme, as we've seen, has been guys, this is what happened last time. Don't switch the plan. Don't switch the plan. Like we switched and then the Portia thing and we switched and then the Tiffany thing. And every time one of those faithful get banished, they all as a group agree, hey, we got to stick to our guts. We can't be switching last minute. So when the group is bringing him like a last minute change, like a change to the plan, he reacts in a way that any of the faithfuls would have reacted like a very normal reaction, not a off-putting, not a way that would rouse suspicion because that has been the faithfuls kind of theme throughout. And so
Mm-hmm.
I was very impressed by his reaction. Um I feel like if he would have played a little bit more go with the flow agreeable, it might have been suspicious eventually. Like I think that might have sat with people
Right.
a bit.
I was just more like specifically in that one thing that he said where he was shocked that they were forming. They don't ever use the word alliance. They say a coup, but
Yeah.
I was like, okay, don't be shocked. That's how we play the game. So be prepared for this moving
I
forward.
think he
More
was
faithfuls are
shocked
going to
at
do
like
this.
the quickness of the approach. You know what I mean? Like
Sure. Yeah.
I think that his reaction seemed very genuine. Like, wait, what is happening? Because it was very quick and very. So when I was reading his response, it came very authentic. Um, and so I give him like major points for that. I think he was put in a very tough
He
position.
was. And so, like what you were going to go into, Colton says that, so in these conversations, we then see Colton, and he says that, he's worried, he's just kind of like putting feelers out there for it at first.
Mhm.
And because he comes into it slow, and then by the end of the episode, it's ugh. So he says he's a little bit worried about Ron. He's worried that he's going to get up there and he's going to say, I'm a faithful. And his worry is valid, right? Because Ron is a faithful. And I think the way Colton does it initially, I'm not mad at him throwing feelers out there, because we see him pull Natalie aside later in the episode, but we'll get into that. But he just throws feelers out to a group and says, I'm worried about this. I'm still going to vote out Ron. Just to be clear, I'll still stay with Johnny and what you guys are wanting, but be thinking about this. And I didn't think there was anything wrong with him doing that. Later in the episode, I'll have different thoughts though.
I have to like really like set aside my dislike for him to like look at it objectively.
Exactly.
It felt very messy and unorganized. And if it were me in the castle, feelings aside about him, like just game player to game player, having the person who's been running lead on every wrong decision we've ever made as faithfuls, then start to already like shift. I personally would have found it even more suspicious. I think I would have been leaning more to Colton's a traitor because
for sure.
Because he's casting too many lines and he's just fishing everywhere. So for me, I felt like the feelers, he's not the one. It didn't need to be in a group. It didn't need to be in a car. It didn't need to be to anybody. It needed to be like maybe to Rob, or maybe like whoever in his head is his like closest trusted person. But I feel like it was even more detrimental to his game to like be starting another fire while they're still trying to like maintain this one, because they are seeing him as the ringleader of the round table for the failing team. He is the quarterback on the worst football team in the NFL, and they're looking to bench his ass. So like, I feel like he just needs to like take a step back.
He's doing too much.
Too
However,
much.
It seems to have actually worked. And I'll tell you why when we get to that part at the round table.
Allie.
But it's working because they're so bad. Yes, I think we can agree on that. And the thing about why I thought it wasn't a bad idea is because it's consistent with how he's thrown everyone else's name out there. And he was correct about Donna. He's taking credit for being the one to get Donna out of the castle, but he cannot take full credit on that.
No, apparently they all knew.
Yes, they all knew, but he is taking the credit for that because what you just said, he's the most vocal and he was willing to pull the trigger. I will give him that, because Dorinda and several others were going, oh, the Taylor Swift thing. They were a little nervous. And I probably personally would have been like worried that the Swifties would come after me if I was someone like Dorinda. If I'm someone like Natalie, I don't give an F. I don't give a flying F. If you're a traitor, you got to go.
I don't know. If me personally, if on day 1 and 2, I for sure have a traitor nailed and I absolutely know who they are, I'm getting myself a traitor angel. What are you doing? What are you like?
So he ends up, okay. So in this same conversation that we're having about Colton, we also get a clip, because we're talking about Rob, we're talking about Colton, and they give us this little clip of Ron and Rob playing chess. And this was such a sweet little moment. However, there was one inconsistency that I have to point out, and it is that Ron said, I loved that they had their little moment and their bonding moment, and it really was a story building piece of the editing puzzle. However, when Ron says that he thinks he's going tonight at the round table, and and then they have this little banter back and forth, and then Rob says that people just think he's because he's like, you don't think people suspect me? And Ron's like, oh no. And Rob's like, yeah, they just think I'm a dumb guy from Alabama. And there's this really heartfelt moment where he's like, no, like, if you were a traitor, you would be so good at it. I don't think you're a dumb guy from Alabama. And he gives all these reasons why. And they all were alluding to the fact that he has gotten to know Rob. But on the episode prior, he yelled at Dorinda at the round table saying, respectfully, I don't give a fuck to get to know you. It impedes my game. It impedes my ability to hunt out traitors. Well, now you're inconsistent. What really is happening is the people you suspect to be traitors, you don't want to get to know them on a close level, and the people that you don't. And so, in all actuality, maybe I do agree with you. It is impeding your game. And I'm listen. I don't not like Ron. It's just that I don't agree that he's being bullied
No.
by the people. Now, fans, on the other hand, perhaps, but the actual there are people on the internet, on sides of the internet, that are saying that it's unfair that he is like a pariah. And I say, no, you decide. Like, we could say the same thing about anyone on Big Brother we could think of that was a recluse those first few weeks. You know, like Keanu, for example, he made his one statement and then it made everyone want to get him out week after week, right? Like,
Yeah.
you make one bad move and unfortunately you do kind of it becomes hard for you to make connections after that moment.
Listen, I don't think Ron was bullied or ostracized or excluded, and it might have come off that way in editing. However, if you go back, like I know that it was probably hard for people to remember because the first 3 episodes happened in a cluster, and then the next 2 episodes
Sure.
happened in a cluster. But if you go and watch those roundtables, Ron was so confidently, boldly leading the charge on the worst possible
Yeah.
guest ever, and to me, like even and that then his line of reasoning would change up. That
Yeah.
this he thinks that this person, but then he would contradict himself as his reasons for another person, which is traitor behavior. It's
Yeah.
bad traitor behavior, but it's one of those like Boston Rob deflect, like look everywhere but me kind of situation. So of course the whole castle thinks that they have him nailed down. I don't think it's an ostrich, like I don't think they're ostracizing. Oh my god, I cannot talk. I don't think he's being bullied. I don't think he's being excluded. But no,
But I do like him. He's a likable guy. So he's a
so
sweet
likable,
guy.
so sweet.
I just wanted to be clear that, like, when I made my one video about him and I was like, look, I don't think he's being, so many people were like, I'm Team Ron. I'm like, you can be Team Ron. But also, let's recognize that, like, people on the internet are accusing it felt like Big Brother to me, where
Yeah,
I spend half the season being like, Angela's not a plant. Angela's not a bully. Like, that's what it
yeah,
felt like to me. And I was like, look, it's just a show. And the people have the right to decide who is a traitor and who isn't. And that doesn't make them a bully.
right.
And it also, people can decide, like Ron has just admitted, and I don't know if they did this edit on purpose or not, but Ron has just admitted that he isn't getting to know everyone. He's getting
Right.
to know some people.
Yes.
So,
Very sweet.
it was a sweet moment, though,
It
all
was
in
very
all.
sweet. I liked it. And I like, God damn it. Why is this show making me love Rob? And now I'm having to reevaluate everything I thought about him. But I realized I just thought what I thought about him because I was Team Leah.
Well, I didn't watch, so I
I
know
did.
nothing,
So
and
I
it's
came
not
in with
hard for
some like,
me, but
I came in with some like preconceived note, and I was like, oh, Rob, like,
I
why?
have preconceived notions about people from Love Island on the Traitors just based on historical past. I loved Bergie, but Bergie was a little different. He was, to me, when I saw him, I was like, oh, he was on Love Island. Like, he didn't feel like a Love Islander
He didn't feel
to
like a
me.
Love Islander on Love Island.
Oh, okay.
No,
He's so sweet. His girlfriend is so cute. I think he's the sweetest. I follow him on
I
Instagram and I
actually
love
watched him
him.
on the Traitors before I saw his season of Love Island.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in this moment, in this little cute moment, now we start to see DR sessions of Rob Roush, and he's like, I feel like crap. Like, this is bad. So now again, this is the episode where I'm like, okay, it might be intentional, but I feel like they're wanting us to doubt Rob's ability as a cutthroat traitor. And then towards the end of the episode, so it was almost like they played on us, like, okay, he's a softie, and then, oh, okay, like he's got it in him. So the next thing is Johnny, Mark, Tara, and tell me, Moira. Okay, I keep saying Mara. Moira. They're together. So now we're finally seeing this group that, if you watched my video last week, Ryan kind of mentioned this group. He's like, this group's going to be important. I was like, I fully agree with you because we don't get to really see full edits of them talking, but we see them to the side, always together. Anyway, so Johnny says that's when he finally is like, we have to team up, let's do this. And he's like, we get this really good moment of them, and they pull in Kristen, and I just love her. I think she's playing such a good game. I love Kristen.
I I love Kristen so much, and I stand by. I've said this before, but like I someone told me, oh, my best friend told me last night, we were talking about people before the episode started, and she said, "Yeah, really, Kristen's so funny." And I was like, "Is she?" Cuz I
Yeah.
I literally can't pay I don't know what she's saying when she's talking because my brain goes all fuzzy when I see her. Um,
Well, you can follow her on TikTok. She has some funny TikToks that I've seen now, but yeah.
she's oh gosh, she's so gorgeous.
Yeah.
I get all just weird and I can't. So I'm sure she's hilarious and funny and smart and brilliant and all those things, but I'm no better than a man when she's on my screen. And I need her to stay for the entirety of the season, please. Thanks.
What I love about this moment though is it shows this is not the first time that she has been intentionally pulled. Hey, Kristen, come over here. We're talking. So it shows me that she has a really good standing in the castle right now.
She's in very good standing. She is one of the I can immediately tell that she is considered one of like the faithfuls, which makes me worried that once the traders pick up on that, then
Mm-hmm.
she, you know,
That was going to be my next statement. It makes me be worried about
yeah.
a murder risk. Although, are they ever going to get another freaking murder again? Um, but there's that, and then also the combo of her and Mark Ballas together. That
Mhm.
worries me that they're going to take out one of them, unfortunately, in a murder. I think it's going to be Kristen, based on and Ryan and I talked about this last week. Is we saw the TikTok. I don't know if you've seen it, that Mark Ballas and Candace do together, and it has both of us feeling like he is the recruit if and when there is a recruit. And also, Candace has alluded to the fact, I don't know if you've seen this red carpet interview, I don't know where she was at, but someone interviews her and they're like, how's it gonna be? She was like, I'm gonna give you one little piece of information. And she says, especially, she said, the way the game ends has me wanting to cuss somebody out at the finale. And she goes, and I'm going to be one of those people cussing him out. So that tells me she makes it somewhere close to the finale, or she gets snuffed somewhere and she doesn't. You know what I mean? Like, some, why does she specifically want to cuss somebody out? Does
It's Candace.
well, but
It could be
clearly
anybody.
something happens to her and she doesn't.
I can also see her
So
just trolling. So,
yeah. Well, it
uh,
was a bad thing to say if it's true, because now we know that you made it to finale. By the way she said that, it made it as if she is definitely going to finale.
I
But
don't know. I would take it all with it because she's very good at trolling. Moira's been kind of doing that too, with like alluding to answering questions about her and Rob and stuff. I think they're just good at this. But we'll see. I did see the TikTok. I didn't see it as Mark being a recruit as much as I saw it as Candace is going to be on Dancing with the Stars.
I'm fine with that.
I need that to happen immediately. Yesterday. So
Yeah, so I was pretty sure until this episode that the traders were absolutely going to steamroll the season. But now that we're getting finally a good solid edit of this Moira, Johnny, that little group, I'm going, okay, they may still win. However, I do see that there is going to be a problem to be addressed out at once Colton is gone.
I was about to
Colton
say,
is the immediate problem,
well,
but this little group, they will be the next problem.
that's kind of what I was alluding to like earlier is that the same goes for Colton as it goes for Michael. That it doesn't matter if you're a faithful or a traitor. If you're a traitor, you're a traitor. If you're a faithful, you're a bad one. Same goes for Colton. If they look at every decision that once you get rid of Ron, then every decision you've ever made, like one saying is Colton, Michael, and Ron are the reason that banished faithfuls every single time. They are the loudest voices. They are the ones that whose logic changes within the blow of a wind and every single week. So like just if you're down by that many points and you're like doing this terrible as a team of faithfuls, then why don't you just like get your team in check?
Right. And I'm hoping that that's where they're at with it,
Yeah.
because I didn't mention it, but Johnny's plan is not to get out Ron. They want to vote together, but his plan, we ultimately find out, is actually he wants to go after Colton. And I love this plan, but I do, when we get to the vote, I have a few more things to say about how that plan came out because, yeah, we'll talk about it when we get there. So this is the part that I talked about a minute ago. After we see that Johnny part, then we see Colton specifically pull just Natalie. But I do wish that the moment with Natalie alone happened before anything else. I wished he would have it. It turned out for him because we do have some people ended up going to his side. However, I do wish that he would have tested it on one person. I think that would have been the best idea, and then start planting the seeds. But like you said, it's, he's coming in fast. He's coming in hot.
Too much, doing
Yeah.
most.
And then, but he is coming, like he is correct. And so I think next week, if he does end up, we can maybe talk about it later if you want, but if he does end up getting Lisa out, um, unfortunately, I fear he may be on our screens a little longer.
Mm.
Just because, especially with him saying the Portia thing, which Ryan and I disagreed on this last week. He was like, "Oh, I think that was a good move," and I was like, "No, that was a horrible move." Natalie vocalizes that later at the roundtable too. Like, I would never do this for a Survivor person. Like, it's just like it to me that was such a traitor move. Lisa should have never, ever, ever. Later, different. First week, absolutely the F not. Don't write Portia's name down. She was going either way. Don't. I understand not wanting to be on the wrong side of the vote, but like, no.
Yeah, no. I get it. I feel for her because I feel like even if I was say I'm a faithful housewife, if I know anything about this show, it would be a very, very tough position for me to be into. Not want to go like against everyone. Like I don't want to go against a housewife, but you also don't want to be an like week one odd vote out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I understood that he had his sunglasses theory was weird. She just wears. Have you seen her TikTok? She always, but the other things he said, he was on. This time he actually has got it because he was like, he said something about her personality. I think he may have said this on the last episode, but her personality, she has this huge personality. And if you know her, you know that that's who she is. That's how she was in the Housewives. That's how she always is. And he's correct. She is definitely different. Now, if she was a faithful, I would argue that she's just dialing it back so she doesn't get targeted. But
Where I'm
I
like,
can't make that argument because that's not what she's doing.
that's how you spin this. But I do think her approach was good too, where she, first of all, Colton, do you know Housewives or you don't? Because in one breath, like one episode, you said, look, I don't know anything about the Housewives. But then on the other note, you're like, but you're Lisa Rinna. And so then what? You've seen compilation clips then. What are you talking about? If you don't know her, then you don't know how she is all the time. But also, if you know Bravo and you know the Housewives, these women do, especially the icons, the Lisa Rinnas, the Kate Chastain's, I know is not a housewife, but like in the same day, like they have a character, they have a persona, right? But that doesn't, I'm not beholden to them to be that persona when they're going to play a game. You know what I mean? Like if she's playing this, like she's playing a game or like she's, doing something, she's not playing this like she's on Housewives. I don't know. I give benefit of doubt to everybody's, but I'm just saying, like, she needs to play. I like her angle that she's going with Colton. Like, if you want me to be Lisa fucking Rinna, I can be Lisa fucking Rinna, but
But your argument the problem I have with Lisa though, her argument is always, well, I'm Lisa fucking Rinna. Okay, we need to have a little bit more to back ourselves up now because now he's really coming for me.
He's bringing. I think what she's saying here is that you're Lisa Rinna, you should behave this way. And she's saying, you want that way? You want that Lisa Rinna? I can be that Lisa fucking Rinna. You don't want me to be that Lisa Rinna. But in the same breath, like in that breakfast room, in that kitchen, she was trying to, I feel like what she was trying to get across, and again, for editing, we don't know, but like context clues and what I took away from it was like, that's not who I am all the time. That's not who I am the most of the time. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's a character. This is me, and you don't know me. So I like that approach. And yeah, we know she's a traitor, but I'm saying like I saw like that's right. We love to manipulate a man. Okay, girl, like gaslight the shit out of that man because he
Yeah.
and so like
Yeah.
that's what I was seeing. And I was like, keep at it, just keep at it. And because I saw a break in him. I saw a little moment in his face where he kind of felt bad. Like he felt
Mm.
like he hurt her feelings. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
there's your opening. Like twist the knife. Like
I'm gonna
right
be honest with you. I watched his season.
there. Uh-huh.
I was a huge Bachelor fan for many
Mhm.
years, and there's nothing in that man's eyes that are gonna make me ever believe that he feels bad for anyone.
Is it and again, if anyone knows me, knows that like
You don't watch those shows, I
not
know.
only am I
Yeah.
like an apologist kind of person, but I'm also like I'm just I'm
Sarah,
blindly loyal to the
um,
gays, okay? And I don't
yeah,
like him. I really don't like him. What I'm saying is that maybe he's got a little bit more human in him now that he's not closeted, because that can affect you, right? But there was a glimmer in his face where he just, I'm not saying he softened like a good person kind of softens. I'm saying that like it was almost like he was worried that did he go too far? Was he going too far on her? It was almost like a like am I crossing a line? There's like a look in his face, right? And because she sounded genuinely hurt. She sounded genuinely like that's not who I am, Colton, you know. And then in his I feel like his face read he was in that moment worried that he crossed some line. That's what I'm
hmm
saying. Like, that's Lisa Rinna. Like, that's where you go in. That make him feel like gaslight the
yeah,
shit out of him that you are being an asshole for demanding me to be somebody like that's a character, like, and not allowing me to be my real self. My
yeah. I see what you're saying. My interpretation of like his demeanor was that he thought he was going home, and that's why, and he almost was, and that's why he like had he not realistically had he not said her name, um, it is possible that because Ron's vote would have went to Colton,
Mhm.
Natalie's vote probably Colton, Eric's vote probably Colton. So I mean, realistically, he saved himself, but that's what I got from it is his glimpse of whatever was like, oh shit, if I don't do something, I have to go home, and then maybe he did start to feel a little bad that like he only did it to save himself, but it was. I thought because I believed him in the beginning of the episode that he wasn't gonna like I think he was going to try. He maybe would have said something, but I don't think he would have went balls to the wall the way he did until people started being like, because Mark Ballas started. We can talk about the roundtable later, but Mark Ballas comes out and he's like, "Okay, let's actually debate today." Like Michael's gone. Like he doesn't say that, but it's like Michael's gone, so we can actually
Yeah,
talk now. And I love that from Mark. But we'll get
I love
into the
that for all
roundtable later. Yeah, I love that from all of
Jesus.
um Jesus, yeah. Okay, but no, like I see what you're saying, but my interpretation was that it was more like, oh shit, let me self-preserve myself, and I just kind of thought that was the mode that he was in, honestly.
You're probably right. It was just how I felt in the moment. But if I were Lisa, that's the string I would keep pulling with him.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and if I were everyone else,
Uh huh.
let them keep fighting.
Yes.
Eventually one of them will go. Like, and it won't be me because
Yeah.
you know, we saw Ron get saved like twice in a row because of people voting for Michael Rappaport
Mhm.
instead of Ron. And then finally they got out Michael Rappaport, and now, unfortunately, and I think Johnny said it on the one, but he was like, Ron, you got saved tonight.
I always like looking at like the different social and psychological strategies that different people can use. And I really like this one for Lisa if she keeps this up too, because it could genuinely work on anyone. Where if someone wants to bring that argument that Lisa's not being Lisa enough or whatever, then there are so many people in that castle who, Moira, by the way, Moira, yes, is the host of Love Island After Sun, right? But Moira rose her claim to fame is from her Love Island UK season where she was fiery as fuck. And she just
Mhm.
went like she could go. She's not that's not who she is in the castle. That's not who
So
she is in the castle.
what
So
happens if Colton touches the brooch? Do you think that they'll who do you think that they will get to
how do
touch the
you get
brooch?
yeah, I only thought anyone was going to it would be weird if someone comes up and touches a brooch. Uh,
Well, Parvati got poor little Ekinsu to drink from a random cup. So things can
But those are
happen.
random cups out like cup
Yeah.
easy. The brooch to me is a lot harder. And I'm thinking immediately in the turret, and then he's like, "Oh, it would be weird if I wear it." Yeah, so you wear it because they're all going to be wearing. We saw their preview to the outfits. They're all
Yeah.
wearing these like
Weird. Yeah.
extravagant weird shit. So put that brooch on Rob. I guarantee you someone's touching it
Mm,
because it's like, ooh, look at that. Like, look at Rob stepping it up in the jewelry, and this is cool. And, and no one
yeah.
suspects him of shit right now. So it's not weird. It's just everyone's in weird costumes, and no one would know. No
Yeah.
one would think it. That's the one that would have gotten away with it.
Yeah, and it feels it kind of looks like a random earring, like the way it looks. So now I will give my little bit of benefit of the doubt to Colton for a second and say that I don't mind his perspective on when he says that he's going to put enough eyes on Lisa so that if he does get murdered tonight, the eyes will then just go to her immediately. And this is a solid plan. You know, I think he did too much, but it is a solid plan because it's a bad idea to murder the person that just brought your name up. Um, I think that honestly, I think that had this issue not been an issue from the last murder where they couldn't do one, honestly, I think they would have gone after Colton. I'm unfortunately, I don't want to talk bad about all these people so much because we've been so hard on them. But just as much as I don't think the Faithfuls are that smart, Candace is doing a good job. She made some mistakes in the first few episodes, but she's turned it around. Lisa, I genuinely don't think she's a good traitor. I think that she's only good because she's able to listen. She does actually listen,
It's a
and
good team.
she's a good team player, but I do not believe that the ideas are hers. She is constantly referring to Candace and Rob for what to do next. And if I was Candace and Rob, I'd be like, yeah, let's murder Colton. Because then if any of the traitors are gonna be sussed, it's gonna be her. Like
Yeah.
I would have been fine with it personally.
There
So
is an art too of and it's a little too late now because the murders have been so random, but there is an art to like just take out who's after you because there is an art
yeah.
to swaying you're being framed and set up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but we did see Dan try and do this, and it did really blow up. Remember when he tried to murder Bergie and set himself up, but then Bergie ended up accidentally having the shield. Like it
Yeah.
ended up just going so
Yeah.
south after that. But we have seen people try it, and it doesn't go well. So it's like it's probably so hard when you're in that castle to be like, okay, I've watched these other seasons. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. What
Yeah.
should we do? And we've seen who was it? I think it was also Dan that put himself in a coffin, or somebody else put themselves in a coffin trying to
Mhm.
do the same methodology. And then after that, on subsequent seasons, they were like, oh, and it ended up being no traitors in the coffin. And they were, so it's just so hard with this show because it's not like year
It's not
after year, you don't have consistent. Yes, exactly.
right.
But yeah, so Lisa, when this conversation with Natalie happens, Lisa immediately jumps in the room. And this is where we were saying he does too much because he's like, oh, look, the housewives are flocking together. It's great. They're together. Just alluding to like housewives are actually sticking together, unlike, and then he's, alluding to her vote. And I thought that comment was way out of hand, like
Yeah.
way too
It
much.
was so obnoxious and
Getting
annoying.
in her eyes, like too
Yeah.
much with the sunglasses.
No,
It,
I wouldn't have
yeah.
had it. I'm sorry. I can't like what like oh god, he's so obnoxious. And like stuff like that too. I'm like, do you realize like how cringy you are? Like
No, he doesn't. He is like I'm genuinely Sarah. He's his antics towards the end of his season of The Bachelor and all of his antics afterwards have shown me that he is not a self-aware individual.
no. He's trying so hard to be Dylan and it's quite insulting. He could never be.
I think that he thought his edit was going to be better than it is. I truly think that he tried to dabble over into chat BCC until Tiffany
He
ripped
hopped
the
right over
fan.
that wall.
He was like, nope,
Nope.
immediately. He couldn't handle us. Also,
No.
I think the chat BCC fans. I don't think you realize those are the gamer fans. So primarily, of course, there's others in there, but primarily it's the gamer fans, and we don't
I need to
that
know
nice.
what kind of hold Bravo has on the housewives and why the hell we don't have housewives in chat BCC. Um, I need it. I need it immediately. I need it
Oh.
so bad. I need them in chat.
Yeah, I don't know.
And they
We
all watch each other's franchises because they're all up to speed on Watch What Happens Live on each other's franchises. They all know each other from BravoCon and everything. So why aren't we
yeah.
having like a housewives chat channel?
Maybe we just haven't. Okay, so like, I would
Can you
like to have
imagine
me
listening
personally.
to
I would like to
Potomac
have a
and DC
TLC.
and all of them just talking shit because they do it now
Yes,
on Twitter. They do it on Twitter. So put it all in one spot. We could just watch them. Oh my God, I need it so. I need the housewives in the chat immediately. I need Candace in the traders chat. Um,
yeah. My assumption. I'm just. This is just my assumption is that because Chat BCC, from my understanding, kind of started as like they did like some sports stuff, and then it kind of started dabbling over it like with Big Brother.
yeah.
I'm guessing the gamers have caught on and know what it is. You know, we got Colton to
But
come,
they're
but
all
now he
talking.
quickly left, so I don't know.
They're all talking. So someone tell Candace to get her ass in the chat because when I tell you that I I don't know how much of Candace's lore you know and how much you know about Candace and who she is from she's my absolute favorite housewife from
Potomac.
Potomac.
So
I
listen. I
not
was
on
an
name, but when I
OG
tell you
watcher. I was an OG housewife person, so I cut myself off at some point. I didn't watch the new franchises.
you need to watch Potomac.
I've
You
heard it's great. I heard it's great.
great.
And Salt Lake City, I
But
hear is fun
Salt
too.
Lake City is amazing. But there was never any of the seasons that Candace was on, there was never a reunion where we weren't talking about shit Candace tweeted about the girls and shit that Candace was being messy online
Yeah.
with in the comment section, in her IG set. Like Candace threw so many jabs out in the internets. I needed in the chat. I needed in
Yeah.
the chat because she is a wordsmith of our generation. Like she writes like masterclass in like absolute poetry, and nobody can read like Candace. And so I'm ready for that at the round table. I'm ready for someone to accuse her. I'm not ready for it, but I'm ready to see what happens to them when she gets accused. And I want it. I want her in the chat for that as well.
Yeah.
She
No,
doesn't have
I think
to go to a reunion to cuss anybody out, girl. Just come into the chat.
yeah, I think all of the housewives would be great. I just a side note, I am waiting for the day that Nene Leakes can finally be on the traders. I also no shade to Candace, but I would have preferred
Huh?
Michael Rappaport for Kenya because from Atlanta because Michael Rappaport
Mm-hmm.
is on the season or was on the season. And Kenya and Michael Rappaport have a known, like they have bantered for years, had
Mm-hmm.
a known beef. And she read him for filth on Watch What Happens Live before. So I would have just, if I was doing and she may have, she may have turned it down, but just thoughts being thoughts to be ultimate messiness, it would have actually been more fun because she would have had no, like Candace was a little bit more reserved with him and didn't want to start having Portia and Kenya with Rappaport. They hate his guts. Like it would have actually, in my opinion, been better casting choices. But I love Candace and I'm glad that she's there. But yeah, it would have been better to just not have Rappaport at all. Actually,
I would tell
option
you,
number one.
I mean, her outfits are giving, but if for those who don't know Candace and are not familiar with her, just she hasn't been activated yet. And once she's activated, just wait. Because I'm so excited. I'm so excited about her being on this season. And
Yeah.
no, she hates Michael too. So
Yeah, I was the reason I said I was disappointed in the first 3 episodes in her only is because I did know a little bit about her. I didn't watch her season, but I did know enough about her to feel like she would be the next Phaedra. So I was really, really excited for that. And then when I saw her making mistakes so early, I was like, but and they were fatal mistakes, but fortunately for her, offend anyone. I could see her thing where she brought up Lisa's name coming back full circle. Maybe somebody would recall that.
Mhm.
Um, but I don't, but she did come clean about it immediately to the other traders. So I don't think it's going to get her in hot water with the traders. Plus, it seems like Lisa and Candace are equally mad at Rob right now, but we'll get into that later.
I need to see some more. I need more history on Dorinda, but as somebody who's never watched Dorinda on, I knew her name, but
I can give you, what do you want to know?
I,
I've
I
watched,
think I,
I
I
watched
think I just
her.
need to see for myself like her best of moments or something along those lines. But what I can tell you from coming from somebody who doesn't know anything about her, the same goes as my first impression from her last season to my like continuing impression of her from this season. There's without having to do anything in particular, she scares the living shit out of me. She terrifies me. She genuinely seems like someone who will watch someone torture me to death and she will stand there
That's
and
Luann. Luann scares the shit out of me on New York. On, yeah.
Dorinda has this presence in the confessional room that like just I don't know what
Yeah.
it is. I don't know what it is, but I'm just like she just seems like she could be a very scary mob boss.
Well, it might be also just like the New York, because like all of them are
She's
a little like that. Now that I think about it, the New York housewives are all kind of like that.
that's
Dorinda's a terrible drunk, and that's why she went home on season one. I will never forget that preseason. What I said about Dorinda, I said I hope, because that was when, remember, preseason last year was around the time that Bravo was announcing that they would be limiting alcohol consumption, among other shows. The challenge, a lot of other shows started limiting the alcohol consumption, and I said I hope they keep the alcohol away from Dorinda or she's going home fast. And then she got drunk on night one and said some stupid shit and she went out. Like I know her. She is fine until she has a little drinky drink. And when she has a
okay.
little drinky drink, she just, all of those New York ones are, they are bad drunks.
She has a powerful presence that makes me think she could make me disappear without a trace. That's all.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, off to the challenge. So now we see them go off to the challenge, and again we see the little car moments. And Colton again mentions, "Hey, I'm still voting for Ron," but at this point, I think he has mentioned to every single person his suspicions about Lisa. So when he did bring it up at the round table, it wasn't as big of a deal to me because I'm like, well, everyone but Lisa knows that you like, including the other traders. Like, okay, so they go off to the challenge, and what did you think about this challenge?
I loved it. I loved it. It was fun to kind of play along. I loved all the different creepy. I love creepy cabin though. I like creepy cabin. Um, you know, I feel like this wasn't as entertaining as watching Tom Sandoval try to sing creepy doll nursery rhymes backwards. Um,
Yeah.
but but it was fun. But I mean, Candace just screaming for no reason as she's running through the yard, like just
Wait,
and
wait, wait. Johnny Ware, they all start off fine, okay? But then Johnny, like, his little tiny thing, and so then you see him like this first, and then you see him like this. um,
which, by the way, same because that thing opening up and all the bugs, like I
Johnny's
couldn't
hair stuck in my mouth.
We've been watching My Strange Addiction, and I'm like, I can't with the creepy crawly shit. And so when the bugs and the
Yeah.
whole, I can't.
Okay, so
I don't blame him. But the Ouija board situation thing, and then the clues of the walls, I feel like this was the most. Ron said it best. He said like he was so proud of them as faithfuls, and he's right. Like this was they were all coming together. They were all doing a great job. I think every team except for one didn't get it, so they got almost everything that they could bank. But yeah, the
I will
reaction.
put this out there though. I will put this out there just in Natalie's extreme defense because I love her.
Mhm.
Because of her, this went smoothly because everyone is panicking and screaming, and she's like, "Everyone, shut up!" Like mom voice came out.
Yeah.
She was like, "Everyone, sit down and shut up." And then after that, you start seeing other people realize that she's right, that they need to be calm and not be screaming. And then other people they're self-policing now after that moment. And the way that I'm sure you watched her on Survivor too, but the way that she has this ability to, I didn't think it would translate on Traders as well as it is. And I'm so happy that it is because the way that she can be on Survivor You can't do that on the Traitors, but she's
Right.
doing it and it's working.
Yeah.
I love that.
No, I love it. She's such a beast, man. I actually recently watched San Juan Dulcer, and I text Teg and Abigail immediately and letting them know that she is officially my favorite Survivor player of all time.
Ooh, love that. I
I
don't know. Rob Sesternito has a special place in my heart.
special place in my heart. No, no, no. When I'm saying that, like as like as a winner,
Yeah.
as a not a but like as a player and a strategist or whatever, like Rob was incredible. Rob was so impressive that they took him out very quickly in the next season. Rob had a masterful social game.
Sure. Yeah, I loved him.
And he was amazing. I can't take that away. Watching that season, it's just like every episode and like in the whole thing, even like to the finale. Yeah, no, she cemented herself as like my new favorite Survivor winner ever. And
So
I
to
watched
her,
that to prepare, like to get more history on her because I knew she was iconic. I knew she was a fan favorite, but I watched that to prepare myself for Traitors and to see that this many years later she's still a beast. Holy shit! Holy arms!
yeah, you got to watch her on The Amazing Race next.
I plan to in the off season. I have a really hard time getting an Amazing Race, but I think I could do it for her.
So something else I wanted to mention about her though is she also not only did she tell people to sit down and shut up, this is something that's starting to bother me, and I really feel like production needs to make better decisions next year to prevent this from happening week after week. But they keep making these packs not to get shields, and Natalie obviously fed up with it. You know, Natalie and Jam Jam are just like so over this. Natalie goes, "Look, here's what we're gonna do. If y'all want to do this, I'll do it. But immediately, right now, we are making a pact that we're not doing it." And I like that she does that. And I like that she does it so vocally because it puts extreme eyes on anyone who does decide to go with a shield. I don't like that they're doing this at all, but I do understand her perspective and wanting to put those eyes on those people that ultimately do make those decisions so that it's a target that's not going to be her. And I don't mind that, but I do mind that they keep making these packs. But one person can't, you know, just because her and Jam Jam don't want to go it, like that's not gonna
Mm-hmm.
not enough people to, you know, if they were to, you know, they would look like Janelle, you know, and I love Janelle, but she puts targets on her own back when she does things like that.
Yeah.
Kate Chastain puts targets on her own back when she does things like that.
No.
So I do like that she stood up and did that. I don't like I don't do haunted houses, so I was a scaredy cat. When the bitch comes out, no, I'm done. Get me the fuck out of here. And then I was so concerned that I was Tom Sandoval behind the masked person because the dolls dropped at the exact. Listen, dolls drop from the air, and then a creepy masked person comes out, and I'm like, if they reveal that that's Tom Sandoval, because they've literally almost every time they've done a cabin, that's around the time we get our guest star. Like we got Dr. Will. So I was like, please don't.
Yeah, there were rumors that we were going to get an addition this episode.
Yeah. I wondered if it was going to be Dorinda, and then they just decided they didn't care enough about Dorinda, so they just made her come in. I said this to Nicolette when we filmed the first one. I was like, look, it tells me how much they don't care about Dorinda that they just threw her in there regular, because anybody else that's returned, like Kate Chastain, she came in. Yeah, they don't just like, or they give you a week of safety like they gave Wes and Derek. Like, they just threw her in there. Like, she would have been such an easy because to me, if I was one of those, I immediately would have been like, Dorinda is not coming back without some sort of safety, and the fact that they gave her nothing, she's a traitor. I would have been advocating for her to be a traitor, but
this is true.
It was sus.
But then again,
this season it feels like they're doing everything we don't expect
to
throw things totally off.
Yes, I agree. Agreed. I just don't think she was around long enough for them to make a big stink about her coming back, other than she's like just getting a second chance.
Yeah, but I do think if Johnny Bananas were to come back, I do think that he would have had a stink because his exit was a little bit more shocking than Dorinda's.
True.
Dorinda did it to herself. Johnny,
this is true.
I mean, didn't really do anything other than be Johnny. Anything else you thought about the challenge specifically?
No, we got a Lala appearance, and I'm always excited when I get a
I
Lala
love
appearance.
Lala.
Yeah.
The only other note that I had about this was the first two girls that ran out. It was Candace and somebody else.
Hmm.
And I just loved it because it was like Johnny Clark or Michael Clark or whatever it was, but it was black and
Hmm.
not Clark.
Yes.
Well, I just love the scene we got from Mark Ballas when he goes, they do know it's black, right? Because when they left, they sounded like they thought it was Clark. Like that was like my favorite scene of he
Well,
was
that
so
was
like
like right before, because then
realizes.
it cuts to Alan laughing that Candace is just screaming for no reason.
And I love that they had dummies out there that were very close to it. I
Yeah.
loved that.
Yes.
Because they really had a Clark out there. But yeah, the way he was just like, they do realize. And then
Yeah.
Natalie's like right after. This episode gave us my favorite parts of the Traitors is when they give those stupid little edits.
Yes.
And this is what I live for on the Traitors.
I love these types of challenges where they can give us some like good, like I like the scary ones, because remember like the creepy carnival with the Ferris wheel. I just feel like you get the funniest moments in
Yeah.
these. Um, like,
Yeah.
no, I don't want bugs falling on my head, but it's really entertaining to watch it happen to somebody else.
So they come back. And on the car ride back, Ron. Ron is already, and this is not the first time we've seen him do this, where he's essentially giving up. And I do understand that it takes a mental toll on you when week after week you're fighting for yourself. I totally get it. But my opinion is not going to change whether you're Ron on the Traitors or anyone else. My opinion is always if somebody wants to go home, vote them out. Let them go. There are other people that would rather continue being here. And
He just feels defeated.
I don't think that he actually wanted to go home, but saying that like it's just about I'm sorry, but we do see it kind of work to his advantage. He almost saved himself when he was like
Yeah.
individually apologizing to people later, but this move specifically I didn't like it. I
I
was
don't,
like
I do not,
pretty soon I'll get to see my family. Like okay, Ron.
I don't judge it. I have very strong feelings on this when somebody does it on Traders or Big Brother. I mean, not Trader, Big Brother, Survivor, things like that. I have very
Yep.
strong feelings about it. These aren't gamers. These aren't people that have like auditioned and like fought for their lives to be on this show. Like they were recruited to be on this show. So like I judge a lot less harshly. I think Ron actually, it's a very on brand thing. I don't think it was trying to be manipulative. I think Ron doing his goodbye, like taking that moment to say his goodbyes, is a very Ron thing to do, and like how he
It
feels
was
about
sweet.
everything. It was very sweet. It was very endearing. I don't think he intended for it to I wouldn't say work, but like work for him like the way it did, but like to get people talking, like that's I don't think he's a traitor. So
Yeah.
but it was very, very interesting to see. I think
And it does start working because we start to see Rob now become his traitor angel at this exact moment in the car, not the roundtable part, in the car. Rob basically, alludes to
like I wouldn't be too
he's
sure
gonna,
about that.
yeah,
Yeah. He said things
yeah,
change so fast.
yeah. And so then they go to dinner, and Johnny and Mark are talking about going after Colton again. So at this point, I was kind of thinking that it was going to be Colton on this episode. What were you kind of thinking when you saw them get to dinner and we're still leaning towards
I
Colton?
I still felt like the castle was very fractured. I felt like the faithfuls were very, very fractured, and we're gonna have multiple names. This is gonna be a very messy roundtable.
Mm.
But I felt like this was yet another moment that was going to be messy and intense. It was going to be a hard position for Rob to be in, specifically as someone who's like, hey, we can't change the plan. Don't change the plan. He was saying that this morning. And now what's he wanting to do? Is change the plan. So this is just a really tricky situation for everyone to be in.
And at dinner, Rob pisses off Candace because, in her words, he goes rogue because he openly in a group he starts siding with the people that were saying I don't want to vote out. He doesn't say who he's willing to vote for, but he's just like, yeah, I don't think Ron's a traitor. And
Yeah.
Candace is like, do what? This really pisses Candace off.
Which to me, I'm sorry, this moment just felt like a really genuine, faithful moment for Rob.
Yeah.
Read very faithful to me.
I think he's doing a fantastic job right now. Um,
And I hate that.
Johnny starts going, so we see that, but then we also on the other side, we're still seeing more of Johnny. So Johnny's starting to pull more people aside, pushing for Colton, and I'm loving this. I'm like, okay, he's doing what he should do. He's doing it slowly. He's doing it with people he trusts. He's not saying it in big, large groups like Colton is doing with the Lisa thing. So I was really feeling like the Colton thing was going to stick, and I think, like I said before, it would have if Colton didn't throw Lisa's name out there. So this is where we see Rob saying he's just absolutely torn, like in DR sessions. He's like, I actually don't really want to go for Ron at all, but I also don't want to go for Colton for obvious reasons. Like, let him continue being a target. Also, it from his gameplay that he had been doing outside of the turret, like with these faithfuls, it really didn't make sense for him to write down Colton's name at that time because
Mhm.
it wasn't that he was necessarily working with Colton, I don't think, but I think that the people that he was clearly not working with wasn't Ron and Colton. You know what I mean? Like it just didn't add up for him to do that. Not when there's, especially not once Lisa's name was thrown out there, right? Like I see why it made sense. I would still have been kind of upset as a fellow trader, but I do see
Yeah.
why that didn't make sense for him to not go for Lisa once the option was on the table.
I think the key to
Um,
any of these games, and if I had like advice for Rob or like how to handle Candace, I think the key with any of these games, you want to play all these games kind of like the way you play Cards Against Humanity. You need to get to know people's tells, their love languages, and what speaks to them.
mm-hmm,
And if Rob was paying close enough attention to Candace, he would have seen how heartbroken she was over Monet and how much that upset her on like a personal level
mm.
and how endearing she was. So then you talk to Candace and you appeal to her in the sense like, I feel like Ron's my Monet. And it didn't start this way, but here's where we're at. And like, this is very, very difficult for me. And that like appeal to that side of her, I feel like that he could still, I don't think they're, it caused some tension, but I think they're gonna be fine. They need him and Candace knows that.
Yeah, and when I say that these are good traders, I'm not saying that they're the best traders we've ever had. I'm saying comparative to the rest of the cast, they're doing a great job.
They
Um, if they
I
had
love to see
other,
it. They get bigger points because they're not gamers and they are gaming and their strategy. They're making strategic decisions, and I'm just very proud of them. And it's very exciting for me to see people, specifically like housewives, play these games like gamers because the housewives have frustrated me so many seasons in playing the just protect the housewives. It's all personal. And then if you're like the faithful housewives, literally take it outside of that, get like will not speak to traitors or anybody that wrongs them in the house. Like,
yeah,
for,
I think Phaedra is the exception to that though, because I thought Phaedra played a really good trader game.
yeah,
She
yeah,
did protect, like Sheree, for example. She made it known, but also because of the history of the show at that point in time, only 2 seasons in, it only made sense for her to play the cards to the faithfuls of I'm sticking with my housewives, you know. And Natalie, like we talked about earlier, she said the same thing at the roundtable. Hey, you come in with your people, and you know, especially at those first, you know, vote or two, I would never write a survivor name down because I only have my people, right? Like,
and I'm glad that she clogged Jam for that shit. I'm
yeah,
glad that she called him out for that shit
yeah.
because he was very clearly leading the charge on Rob Sesternino.
Don't listen. Oh my god. Hey, but you know what? He didn't leave chat BCC when the heat was on him.
That's true. Fact. Um,
Because he's a gamer and he understands the gamer community. Colton truly, and I'm not trying to defend him, but like I just don't. He didn't know how to come correct in the chat BCC, and he didn't. He came very incorrect. He was about to get his ass handed to him, and so he left.
yeah. I you know what I meant, but like, yes, Phaedra was the exception, but I'm saying that there's been a running theme with housewives and it's annoyed the shit out of me. I like drama as much as the next person, but it's very annoying to me for your whole beef with someone being that they beat you in a game. Like, that's really annoying to me. And I'm like, please don't go sit at the kids' table. This is the big kids' table. By big kids, I mean like this is a game. and we're gamers, and don't be mad that you don't know how to play. It's like, so that's kind of always been like my love-hate relationship with having mixed gamer and Bravo Lebs in these guys. So having this season be non-gamers actually playing game and making strategic decisions has been a breath of fresh air that like I'm rooting for them. I'm rooting for them hard. No, they are not the best traders we've had. They're the best we've had in a minute. But I think that they've been it's a new flavor of ice cream. It's not the best ice cream I've ever had, but it's brand new, limited edition, and I'm enjoying it.
Sure. I do need to back up for a second because we started talking about the round table, but I wanted to mention one thing is that we see Colton do something that we've never seen before. We have literally never seen somebody go up to a trader and say, you know what, quid pro quo, bitch. Like you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours.
Yeah,
doesn't work. I think in my personal opinion, this is an absolutely terrible game move.
terrible.
There is no way that this works out for you. No way that a trader is going to say, yeah, you're right. Let me just.
He even said, like, I know you can't confirm. He was trying. So, by the way,
production's never going to let that happen. The other thing I would like to add is that the only time I could see something like this even remotely happening is a situation, for example, Johnny goes up to Tara because he knows that and they're besties, or Janelle goes up to Dan, or something like that. I could maybe see it. Like we've seen people say in the past, like Brittany was like, I was pretty sure Danielle was a traitor, but I wasn't going to say anything. I just hoped that she had my back. And Janelle's like, I knew Dan was a traitor from the beginning. Like, but doing this to someone you literally don't know, you've literally already called her out in front of multiple people, got in her face, you've already pissed her off.
No,
and now you're going to do this? It's not a good move.
Yes, and we're going to think a million times over, you're literally just trying to get more shit on me. You're trying to get me to say something that you could throw in my face at the round table.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Colton is no better than the Housewives when it comes to, he is on this show to get as much screen time as possible. $250,000 is not enough for most of these people to change their life at all.
No.
And I mentioned this earlier, but I just loved... Actually, I don't think I mentioned this. I just loved how the round table started because you see Ron sitting there and he's like ready to pretty much write Colton's name down, and he's like, "So anybody want to start?" and then Mark Ballas comes. And nobody says anything, and he's like, okay, I guess not. And then Mark Ballas is like, all right. He doesn't say this, but he's basically like, since Michael's not here, let's actually have a good conversation. I'll start. And he gives valid reasons on like two different people. I think it was Ron and Colton. And he said, these are the things I'm hearing. Does anybody want to address their thoughts? And then it really sparked a good, productive conversation until the end. But when it just became Colton versus Lisa, which was entertaining, I guess, to watch. But they had a good go at a good conversation this week, and I love that.
No, I loved it. It was, well, I mean, I would have loved it more had Colton on it, but every time he opened his mouth, like, please just stop.
Right.
Like, just stop. No, this round, I feel like all the round tables this season have been really good to some extent, like in entertainment value at least. But yeah, watching this, I feel like Lisa held her own.
Wait, before we get there, can I say one thing about something that happened before the Lisa thing?
Yeah.
Ron gave another jab at Dorinda, and I wrote down, I was like, another Dorinda jab, or like it was very clear to me that he thought she was a traitor. He doesn't like her, and she would say something and he would just give her a jab, and I'm like, okay, Ron, like it's just so, I know that a lot of people like him, and I know I'm probably gonna get hate for this, but like I just don't think he's even that good of a faithful. Like, I'm sorry, he's a very sweet man, but
Ron was not good at this game.
No, but people are like standing him like they're standing Andy on Dancing with the Stars. And I'm like, this is different. Like,
no, Ron is a beautiful human being and such a kind soul and funny as shit. And I love
him. Yeah.
Love him. He is terrible at this game.
bad.
And they two can be mutually exclusive. I can love and adore someone and recognize that they are not good at this game. I feel like if anyone's just like, this is not fair to, again, I implore you to go back and watch episodes 1 through 3. Just watch the first cluster again. It was premiere night. We were all hungry for the traitors. I get it. A lot happened. But now go back and watch and just digest. Just like make some key observations here. Because I feel like in the we all got wrapped up in the yay, traitors is back mist here.
Yep.
And you need to go and objectively look at these people and see why Ron is in the position he's in now.
And as someone who has gone back and objectively rewatched it, I can tell you right now, his big first mistake was the coffins, because he advocated so hard to not put that coffin. It's too early to advocate that hard for anyone.
Mm-hmm.
And then, and I get Candace advocated, but her advocating was different than his. His was just, I love her and I know her from this and she's just so sweet. Candace was like, why are we doing this? No, like she was very like, let's be strategic here. His was just coming from a, no, I'm connected to her. So that does I'm sorry, but she ended up unfortunately being a traitor and that bit you in the butt.
Yes. And then being so loud and wrong.
Yes.
Every single round table.
And I'm sorry, but the people online that are saying, well, Colton is allowed to be loud and wrong and we're not coming for him. First of all, we are coming for him. We don't like him.
Coming for him.
Second of all, but that's what people are saying. Second of all, the difference is Colton is loud and wrong. However, on the one traitor they got out, he had it right. He wasn't against the vote. Ron, on the other hand, was highly advocating against her being a traitor. And I'm so sorry, but that is nothing Ron could have prevented other than keeping his mouth shut about it. Like, I get he didn't know, but they don't know that.
Yes.
They don't know what, like, I don't know how else to get people to understand that, like, we're watching in hindsight. Like, they don't know these things.
For the record, Colton is terrible at this.
Terrible.
Ron is terrible at this. Michael Rappaport shouldn't have even been there in the first place, but he was terrible at this. So
yeah, this is what I think. I genuinely think a production was going for the next Tom Sandoval with Colton, because I know you didn't like watch the season. Immediately when his thing came out, he went on, and he did his media press tour, and he has been given multiple opportunities since, and typically it doesn't go this badly for him. People just maybe have forgotten by then, they accept it. I mean, he had Coming Out Colton. It was a huge show, like it was received. I just think that they thought it's the next Tom Sandoval. However, the difference in Tom Sandoval, and I don't watch him, but I've read what I read and I know what I know. He actually did, and I know he made his one really big mistake at the round table and like pissed off all the girls. However, he came into it saying, I want to be a faithful. Clearly he was on a PR press tour and he wanted to be the faithful of all faithfuls. He wanted to do everything he could to be helpful. And he came, in my opinion, he tried to come into it correct. He was trying to, hey, I'm trying to be a good faithful. I'm just trying to do what I got to do. Colton is not coming into this. The vibe isn't the same as Colton and Tom Sandoval. I'm not saying Tom Sandoval redeemed himself or not. I'm just saying the vibe is different. Plus, Tom Sandoval gave us some funny little moments that Colton's not giving us. So we loved to hate him a little bit. We just hate Colton. Like, I'm sorry. I just don't like him.
I'm going to put the biggest difference between do you know what would help Peacock production a lot? Is we were very mad when you put Tom Sandoval on the show. Tom Sandoval is a narcissist, the biggest textbook narcissist in the world. He can fake emotions and empathy like the best of them, but he doesn't actually feel those things. He is always a victim. Of course he wants to be the faithful because he loves to play that he is the victim in everything and he's the good guy and blah, blah, blah. That is the role he wants to be. He doesn't want to be like labeled a liar. So, but what Peacock ended up doing and Alan Cummings ended up doing is clowning his ass the whole season.
Right.
We're not doing that with Colton. Where is the
Right.
shade Alan's supposed to be throwing him? Where is the like the edits or the weird? Where's the Michael Rappaport shoveling the food in the edit? Like, where's our cult? Like, if we're still, if you, we know you have the capability to clown on the villains.
I had been
Work
waiting
for
for them
Tom
to do that
Sandoval.
with Rappaport. I fully expected on premiere night for them to do that with Rappaport at least, and they didn't. And I was like, what?
I mean, they gave us so many of the
That
food.
was not premiere night.
No, I'm just saying, like they gave us multiple where they were the camera, like they were a tad shady. They could have gone more, absolutely.
I guess they did do the one thing where he was like, "Who says?" And then Alan's like, "The clock." Like
That
that was the only thing that I recall actually verbal shade at
yes,
all.
but it's definitely lighter. They honestly helped Tom Sandoval's case by clowning him.
Yeah.
And it made it endearing in him, like, and it gave him something to come out and laugh at himself about. I don't believe it was ever genuine, for the record, but
No, he was on a press tour. Yeah,
it did give him a stepping stone, and
for
he
sure.
come out with the baby and his bad singing and all that, whatever.
At BravoCon.
Yes, yes.
I saw that.
But like, you're not doing us or Colton any favors here. Like, clown his ass. Get in on the joke with us at this point. If you're gonna keep him around, like, I mean, it's too late now. What's done is done. But I think that that's a huge difference in if Colton is really the one that they wanted to bring in as a Tom Sandoval, which leads me to believe that they did not bring Colton in to be the Tom Sandoval redemption arc. They brought Colton in wanting him to be the pilot Pete. They wanted him to be the golden boy faithful, which leads me to believe that they were banking on not as many people being passionate about his, like, he's the bachelor, but now he came out as gay. Oh, and they loved when Gabby Wendy was on and she said the same thing to like Ivar, that she was on the Bachelor and now she's gay. And like, anyway, I feel like they were trying to.
No, I think it's Ari. Remember Ari?
The Ari role. But I'm saying I don't think that
they were going for Ari.
I don't think their intentions are to have him come in and be the Tom Sandoval. Otherwise, they would be clowning him the way they were doing Tom Sandoval.
They're just not clowning anybody, honestly. Not like they have in the past. But yeah, no. I get what you're saying, but I actually think switch it with Ari. Yeah. Because Ari came in with a bad reputation. Pilot Pete really didn't. Actually, unfortunately, fans, the Bachelor Nation people jumped on Hannah because she slept with more than one dude at the fantasy suite. Like, but Pilot Pete was just revered, you know? I think that because Ari was, you know, he kind of screwed the girl over. I don't know if you know that story, but he POS. But, and he kind of fell into the shadows now, and he's still with that. He married her, but, yeah. So anyways, I'm thinking Ari, because at the end, if you recall, Ari like gave up, which was the weirdest thing. But then again, you know, the show was brand new and he didn't know what it was or what it was going to be at the time. But yeah, I could see that. Okay, so but back to Colton. In his own words at the round table, though, Colton says that he's playing bold and reckless. And I wrote down, yes, you are. But he didn't say it in a bad way. He said it in a good way. And I was like, no, you don't realize how bad that is.
Yeah. It's terrible. Okay. Sorry.
Okay, so, you know, he says he's bold and reckless, and I'm like, yeah, you are, and it's a bad thing. So, after Colton says all that, you know, Ron decides to say goodbye to each and every person, one by one. It's incredibly sad, and while he's saying goodbye, we see clips of different people looking over, like Natalie's like, fuck, I don't think he's a traitor. So we saw that it genuinely worked. There were some people that were on the edge, and then there were some people that were really hardcore thinking he was a traitor, and they changed their mind in this moment.
Yeah. I mean, the votes were intense. It was going around. This is one part I do remember from the watch party. And it was, we lost count. We thought Lisa was out. Like
oh no, yeah.
Like I feel like people, because they kept, like, the votes were so so all over the place. I
Well,
got confused there for a moment and like where it was.
the moment with Ron and then when they started voting, it had me thinking of Tiffany so hard, which I just noticed your Justice for Tiff, and I love that. It had me thinking of Tiffany so hard because I was like, is that why they're actually not wanting to make this mistake again? Because like what they did to her, I just genuinely did not see in that moment how they did not see how genuine she was being at that. Like, and I get it. You're going into it with a plan, and sometimes you have to stick to it. But I do think there is something to be said about these roundtable moments. And then when Ron was able to almost flip the vote back away from himself, I mean, that goes to show that I am correct, that there is something to say about those
Yeah.
last minute roundtable. We've seen it on Big Brother with Chemo because Chemo was able to literally live action flip his vote at the very last second on eviction night. And I think it was Chelsea and MJ were literally about to vote him out and flip their vote because of the moving speech he gave. That's what this was giving to me with Ron, and it very much almost worked. And I think that there's something to say about like Tiffany was pulling at people's heartstrings, and we know she was, and they so didn't want to vote for her, but they did it anyways, and they felt like crap. And I feel like for some of them that had to have been going through their mind with when they realized it wasn't Ron.
Yeah, I think again with edits and stuff like that, we don't see how much, but I feel like Rob could have really sealed this if he maybe would have just talked to a few more people ahead of the round table.
Yeah. And we don't know what he did, but like
Yeah,
you said with the edit, but I agree based on the edit we got.
close.
Yeah, because Tara comes out. This is tell me what you thought about this. Tara says, I don't know if this is going to get me murdered, but, and she goes into a few things about why she, doesn't think it's Ron. What did you think about her making that statement?
I think it read to me like somebody who knows enough about the game to know that being any kind of vocal or argumentative at the round table is a very risky thing to do. And I think that she has played a very laid back and reserved and behind the scenes kind of game. And Johnny even said like that was kind of their plan, is just to not be not be quiet and reclusive, but not be the loud ones, not be at the forefront of people's minds. And so it just read to me like she was taking a risk of being vocal at the round table with that fear that comes behind it.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I just wasn't sure how it was going to relate to the others at the round table. And I'm still curious to see if anything comes of it. I don't think it will right now, but I'm a little indifferent because it was a risk to say it the way she said it.
It's a risk to say it, but it's also kind of smart too when you think about it, because anytime you throw out there, like, if I die tonight, whoever I'm about to accuse is the one that
Mhm.
did it. And so now you've just kind of given yourself a safety blanket for the night.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's kind of, I think it's an anxiety thing, but it's also a safeguard decision.
Yeah. Yeah, I know we've dog talked Colton, but I will give him one accolade. So after this, she makes her statement, then Colton's like, "Well, I could bring up something." And he goes into Lisa. And I do have to give him one thing. When he brings up Lisa's name, at least he does come with receipts. And his receipts are true and valid and make sense. He brought up the Portia vote. He didn't start with the weird sunglasses this time. He came up with something that really was undeniable, is that a housewife voted against a housewife, and that is sus. And other people then agreed with him.
Mm-hmm.
To start with that, I think that that was a good move. If he was going to do this, I
Mm-hmm.
think that that was a good thing to say
Mm-hmm.
versus the other things that we had seen him say earlier in the episode.
Right. No, I
So
mean, it is true.
I know it's hard. We don't want to give him too much, but
No, a broken clock is
analyzing his game is what we're here to do. So
a broken clock is right at least twice a day. So like
yeah.
it's not gonna miss every time.
Um Yeah, and that's what we see Natalie say, what we've talked about already, is that she would never vote against a survivor, and so this really kind of pushed
Yeah, I know you.
this. And like I said before, I think it was because at this point enough people like Johnny, because I we didn't really go into it, but after, there was a lot more that went on that we haven't mentioned. Like Johnny comes in and he starts talking, and like a lot of people were, after Mark talked, a lot of people co-signed on the Colton thing, and there were other people that co-signed on the Ron thing, but more people were co-signing with Colton. Why? Because we had a little group going.
Mm-hmm.
We had a little voting block. Finally, I waited 6 episodes for it. Um, so yeah, I think that
You
that
get your shit together, and I'm here for that.
yeah, yeah, and we definitely see some side eyes because then we get some awkward moments with Rob, and that's kind of what we end the round table. But prior to them reading their votes on, is Rob seemingly is just tore to pieces and doesn't know what to do. He's the very last one. Alan literally has to tell him, hey, your time has now run out. You have to write a name down. And the way he wrote, I was like, he just wrote Lisa. Like, I could tell by the amount of brush strokes. um, in this moment, I do believe that Rob made the best vote decision.
Yes, I agree.
I do. Given
More
what happened, I think it was,
yeah.
yeah. Had that never got brought up at the round table, I think he should have voted for either Ron or Colton. I don't think it made any sense to bring up Lisa's name because even though everyone knew it, if it's not brought up at the round table, it would have seemed too sus.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, so
I
Rob's
think
last to write his vote down. Now, I wanted to talk about the last thing I want to talk about is the way that the votes went because we had our little group with Johnny and Tara in them. But this is how the votes landed. So voting for Lisa, we had Ron, Colton, Eric, Natalie, and I wrote Colton twice. I don't know why. I wrote Ron, Colton, Eric, Natalie, Colton. Eric and Natalie were in those conversations with Johnny and Lisa and Candace and Kristen. Like they had a huge group of people that were talking about this voting block. So I thought it was interesting that Colton was able to actually sway, especially Natalie.
yeah.
Um, I do wonder if Natalie maybe hadn't intended on doing the Colton thing ever, and that she was always going to go with Ron. Because I found it weird that she was able to be swayed from Colton to Lisa. But
It just further proves my like that they tried. I understand we were getting a coup, an alliance formed, but the faithful are just so fractured. And I think until you get your problem children, your rotten apples out of there, then they're not going to ever really be able to come together while somebody just continues to throw out chaos.
yeah, and I don't know why.
He's a
Like,
saboteur. That's what he is.
right? Like, why is Jam Jam not seeing that? Why is Natalie not? Or maybe they're okay with it since he's not onto them. Like, I don't know. I'm just interested to know because the two of them know more than anyone
I think
that
I think
Colton's
already
being distracting.
gamers are just like trying to keep their head down and not
Also valid.
recognize the pattern and don't want to be a part of that pattern.
Yeah. So, and also, oh wait, there was a fifth vote. It was Mark. No, no, Mark wasn't the fifth vote. Sorry. Mark voted for Ron. So I wrote down because Ron also wavered away from the I really thought Ron was with the Johnny group until the vote because I was like, well, he voted for Ron. Um because remember they put it they had it go down to where he was the deciding vote and it was either going to
Mhm.
have to go to a draw. But yeah, I was a little bit surprised about that too, so I don't know how he got
That was it.
wavered.
At the end of the like at the watch party, everyone thought it was tied.
Yes, because it was about to be.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm. Yep.
Yeah.
So Lisa and Candace leave this roundtable extremely pissed off. And that's pretty much where the episode ends, except for the fact that so it ends with them being pissed off. Rob does try to explain to them, like, hey, this is why I did it. And I think that his explanation is valid, and I think that they don't really have much of a leg to be mad at him. I do wonder how this, we talked about it earlier, we don't have to beat the dead horse, but I do wonder how this twist is going to play out. I think it's actually, I haven't watched UK and I know it mimics that, but I don't really see the point of this because it's just, to me it feels so obvious that something is going to happen if nothing else happens. Does that make sense to you? Like if I'm going over to this
1,000% know that they're about to go to a dinner in plain sight, murder in plain sight dinner. Everyone knows.
no. Huh?
They all know
Oh,
that they're
they know that they're going to a murder in plain sight dinner? I thought they just knew they were going to
a banquet, but the way they were talking each other out, like they 1,000% know that this is not just a dinner, that this is going to be a murder in plain
and I
sight.
wish that they didn't know that. Like, you know what I mean? Like usually murder in plain sights happen like with the cup, like what we talked about earlier with Parvati. Like to me, it just have something else going on. Like maybe it's a part of the competition or you know what I mean? Like it to me it's just so sus to be like, we're gonna have a ball or a dinner or whatever they're calling banquet.
No, they all 1,000% know.
Yeah. So
Everyone's gonna be on the lookout. So it's gonna be the hardest one. I think this is gonna be the hardest one that the Traitors have ever had to do in all 4 seasons. So I'm excited to see it and how it plays out. I still think Rob should have been the one with the amulet, but I'm very excited to see the full fits though, because some of the teaser ones that they showed in the trailer for next time, like Candace's headpiece.
okay, wait. Also, the Traitors haven't even been really able to murder in a long time. Their murders have been so limited this season, and it felt to me like the franchise was really wanting finally another Traitors group to win because that hasn't happened since Cerise is the only one. But now it feels contradictory because it does feel like they have also tried to make it harder for Traitors because half the time they're not even last episode they didn't even get an alternative. Like typically they get an alternative, but I guess they didn't need one because none of the Traitors,
No,
they still had 3 Traitors.
and I've been saying this for years now. That I'm firmly in the camp that I think if the faithful get a traitor out, then you're all safe for the night. There's no murder that night.
I'm fine with that. Tony said that last year. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that that's the way it should be. I think that shields, there should maybe be one, not 8, not 12. There
It's
should
too
be
many.
one shield available in every challenge. And that shield needs to be secret and
If
hidden.
you want it to be.
It needs to be Survivor style hidden immunity idol, something that you might come across along your way in your journey in the challenge.
And you should be allowed to give it to somebody else, if just like Survivor.
That part. So I don't think that we need 8 shields. I don't even think you need a shield in every single challenge.
What's interesting is last year we had a problem with people just voting for whomever. It's not me. That's like what Tony was talking about when he left. He was like, "This is ridiculous." They're just like, "Oh, this person's name was brought up and it's not me. Let's vote for them." Yeah. Who cares if they're a traitor or not? This season they're trying to go for traitors and they're bad at it. Like, oh, it just drives me nuts.
So I think that the only time that the traitors should get to murder every single night, unless they lose a traitor. If you lose a traitor, if one of you got detected, then that also incentivized the traitors to not do what they did last season and like turn on each other and try to get each other out.
Like, I like it when they turn. Actually,
I do. I think that it gets excessive. I think that you're trying to control. You're trying to be too messy with it. Like obviously you want to just kind of let that people like you kind of want to let that happen later in the game when you get closer to the prize money and stuff. I get that.
Boston Rob doing that to Bob that early on, in my opinion, derailed the season.
Yeah.
But that nobody seems to agree with me on that. But
no, I agree with that. I also agree that Boston Rob also shouldn't have turned immediately. Like I feel like way too early for that stuff.
And what Bob the drag queen said,
like, if a traitor
wasn't even that bad. It didn't even indicate. I mean, it wasn't the best. I understand why he was upset, but rather than go to him and be like, "Hey, you said this," he didn't do that, and then it derailed the season. And then Carolyn is insufferable to me, but I don't want to talk about it because people will get upset. But I just can't stand her. I like season 1. They didn't bring shields into play until like episode 6.
Correct.
and it was only one shield, and it was between the three people. It was like Rachel, whoever that one Angelica girl was, and then Ari,
Yeah.
and they literally went in and opened a box,
Mm-hmm.
and based on, it was luck of the draw. Now they got to do that based on the competition. It was like things that happened during the competition dictated if you got to go into that room. But I like that better personally.
Yes. So yes, I'm excited to see how this banquet plays out. I think Lisa's gonna get figured out very soon. So, and I think Candace just needs to let it happen. Candace needs to vote.
The next roundtable will be between Lisa or Colton. I firmly believe that. Um, who do you think that they are going to go after? Who, not who's going to touch it, but who do you think they would want to go after? I don't think that they should be going after Colton with touching it.
Oh, well, Lisa said at the end of the episode that she is going after Colton. So
Yeah. I think she wants to, but like I just don't know that that's the best. Given what just happened at the round table,
yeah,
you need to get him out at the next round table.
yeah,
It's just, but that's fine. If I was Rob, okay, fine. The eyes are only going to be on Lisa.
yeah.
So,
I
and
mean,
that's a little bit of why I don't mind when they turn on each other, because at some point it's like, you got to.
yeah. I mean, you did this to yourself. I'm
Like
not.
when Sari did it to Cody, it made sense.
Yeah.
Like she, for her to win, Cody had to go.
Yes. Oh,
Fantastic season.
fantastic season. We talked about it twice now.
The Traitors is built on the back of Sari Fields, and I will never change my opinion on that.
Great,
Okay, well,
okay, but UK.
yeah. Yeah, I don't watch those, so Traitors US is built on the back of Sari Fields, so I can't speak for the other franchises, but so I am really excited to see the next episode next week. Is there anything else that you like took notes on that we didn't touch on? I think we
I
pretty
tried
much covered
glancing
it all.
down to see if there's anything I forget, but we covered it all. So no, it
Yeah.
was a good episode. It's weird only having one.
Well, it's good connecting with you because it like we used to do this kind of stuff more often. We haven't been.
I know. Yeah, no, the podcasting thing, I love it so much. I really,
It's a
really
lot of
do.
work though. It's so much work.
It's a lot of work. I don't mind the work either. It's the coordinating. It's that
Yeah.
I need someone. It's just everyone's schedules were kind of all over the place, and I think you said, "Hey, can we do this on this day?" I'm like, "Yep, got it. Let's do it." Like that's what I need. I just
Yeah.
do this all day, every day. I just need someone to tell me the when and where to be there. So
Yes. Yeah, I was like, when I texted you, I was like, okay, this is the block of times I'm available on Friday. This is Saturday. And you were like, Friday. And I was like, okay. So then I got back with you with the time. Like, we're good.
this is
Um,
great. Yeah.
but yeah, no, like I do miss it because we used to like always do our drafts and kind of check back in with the drafts and stuff like that. But hey, we'll get back into it. I feel confident that eventually the SSS will come back to fruition. But for now, these little, we do lives together from time to time. And I just want people to think that we don't like, I feel like some people are like, where's Sammy been? Where's Sammy? I'm like, we're all still
We're
besties.
all
Like, we're
still here.
good.
We're all talking all the time. We talk all the time.
Especially Abigail. She falls off. She falls off from time
Yeah,
to time, but she is here. She is lurking. She is watching. Trust and believe. We love
yeah.
her. We're in contact with her.
I mean, yeah, we talk. I feel like we all talk more than
Any of the creator groups, personally, any
yeah.
of the reality people. I think our group chat is
I
probably
think I
popping.
think we all talk more than like people I hang out with in like IRL. You know what I mean?
IRL, yeah.
But yeah, yeah, we're out, and I've been doing a lot of lives. I've been covering Drag Race with Mr. Rogers, which has been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay, I'm new to Drag Race.
oh,
Love
I love
that.
Drag
So.
Race. I'm new to covering it. I'm not new to watching it. But this season has been really, really great, and with the added chat BCC there, it's the most.
It's been dinging. Like I have 100
the whole
unread, 100 unread
100,
chat BCC.
yes.
Yeah.
Same. It's wild, but yeah, Traders is great. The watch parties are my absolute favorite thing, but more than podcasting, more than TikTok, more than anything. But yeah, I'm trying to expand the watch parties more. So that's where a lot of my focus has been.
Yeah.
But yeah, I go live like every single morning, every morning for like get ready.
Sometimes I pop in. I pop in
Yeah,
from time to time.
we love the get ready. That's like coffee for me.
Okay, well, Sarah, it's been real. It's been fun. It's been real fun. But I may see you again. I don't know if you're on my schedule again. If not, maybe you can pop back in on another one. But yeah. I'm so happy we got together.
Hey, this is fun. All right, stay warm.
Okay.